In this video, we will write a script which gets all the posts submitted by the user in the last 24 hours in a particular subreddit. In any subreddit, actually. But as an example, we will work on this subreddit. This subreddit is about blowing glass. So creating glass, which looks like this more or less, and I chose this subreddit because this has a relatively low number of submissions per 24 hours. So it's not a very popular subreddit, which means it's a good subreddit to experiment with. For example, we see that in the last 24 hours there are about 4 or 5 submissions by users. So we're going to check that if we also got these 4 or 5 submissions in our Python code. That way we can evaluate the accuracy of our script. So to do this, you need to have a Reddit account and also create an app in Reddit. I showed how to do that in the previous video. And also you need to create a Reddit instance using that class and putting all your data in here. I also showed this how to do in the previous video. So now, what we need to do is, this time we need to create a subreddit instance, which comes from Reddit, so that variable comes here, dot subreddit. So this now gets as a string a subreddit. The subreddit is the name. As a string goes the title, the name of the subreddit. You can see it here, glass blowing, and you can also see it after the r/glass blowing. So glass blowing goes here, glass blowing. Then once we have a subreddit, we want to iterate for post in subreddit dot new. The new method will give us the new posts in that subreddit. So that will give us a list of posts. Then we need to apply a condition, something like if a post is in the recent 24 hours, then we print it out. So before we apply that, we first need to get to the time, the current time, and the time when a submission was created. So let's first get the current time. Current time, a variable is equal to date time dot UTC now. We also have the now method, but be aware that this method gives you the local time of your computer or of the REPL server, but UTC will give you the UTC time in the UTC system. So this is good when you are doing comparisons between different times, as we're doing now. And of course we need to import from date time, import date time. So that goes here. Now that's the current time. And what is the post created time or post time? That is post dot created. So the post is one of the posts in the subreddit, one of these submissions. That one, it will be this one also. And also be aware that there are ads. So this is an ad you see promoted here. This will not be included in the list of submissions because it is not a submission, it is an ad. So post time, post created. Let's try to print out current time and post time to see what we actually get. So run that. And this is the output. So current time is this one in here. And post time is this one. So they are in a very different format from each other. So this is like a timestamp in seconds. And these seconds are from 1st of January 1973. So it's still a timestamp, but it's in seconds and it starts from a particular point in time. We need to convert these two into a common format and then get the difference out of them. So I think it makes more sense to convert these into date time. To do that, so that is the post time, we get post created, and then we put that post created as input of date time dot utc from timestamp. So that is a method of datetime which gets seconds as input and it returns this kind of format. So now if I run this again, we should see the same format. So that is the current time, and that is the time when the post was created. So there are many posts in here. For each pair, we need to calculate the delta. So the difference between the time when the post was created and the current time, so that we check if 24 hours have passed or not. So let's say delta time is equal to current time minus post time. And let's print that out. So this is what we get. Yeah, I start from here. So the most recent post was made before 4 hours and 54 minutes and 34 seconds. Then another post was submitted before 8 hours and 25 minutes ago, more or less. 10 hours, 12, and then we have 1 day and so on. So let's filter them out by getting only the posts that are earlier than 24 hours. For that we need an if conditional. So if delta time is less or equal to 24 hours, but be careful, how do we represent 24 hours? You cannot just say 24 like that, right? Because you want to compare a delta time type with a delta time type, but this is not a delta time type, this is an integer. So what you want to do instead is you need the same type of object. So for that we need to import from datetime, we need time delta. And then we can create a time delta object which has the same type as this object. So this object is created implicitly through the difference of 2 different timestamps, but still you get a time delta from that difference. So now we can say hours equals to 24. You see, this gets this hours argument, and it also has other arguments you can pass. So if you wanted a more accurate delta, such as 24 hours, 1 hour, 2 minutes and 3 seconds, you could do that by adding arguments here, like minutes equals to that and so on. But for us, in this case, is 24 hours. So if that is the case, then print post. But post, as you know, simply gives you that ID of the post. So perhaps you want the title and then you want self text, the body of the post, the content. So you run that. But first maybe you want to uncomment that there and to run again. So this is what we get. So we have 1 post here, 2 in here, which corresponds with these. So another one is the title of this and the title of that post. So another one, this one. Now, if you want to save this into a list instead, you'd have to create an empty list before the loop. So like output or just posts 24 hours, like that. That is equal to an empty list. And then instead of printing these titles and self-text out, you want to refer to post 24 hours dot append and keep adding perhaps tuples of post.title and post.self text. And of course you can keep adding information that you want to be included, like posts created, and so on. And then you can print out the entire post 24 hours list and see what format we get. So there we go. And so the list starts here. You see the square parentheses, and then we have the title. So the first tuple with the title of the first post. There's no content in that post, just a picture. And then you have the timestamp in seconds. So if you want to convert that into date time, in human-friendly date time, you want to apply again that method to post created, or just say here post time and run again. So small tongue, and that's the date time. And of course you can also further convert it into a string using the strf time method. And so on. You see that we got these posts in a list. And of course you could go even further and store them in a text file. And we can do that by opening a text file with open output.txt in write mode as file, and we indent all this for loop under the with context manager. So for posts in subreddit, if delta time is less than 24 hours, then we say under the conditional here, indent it, we say file write. And we write an f string perhaps, so which has post.title, a break line, post.self text. Let me expand this. Perhaps a double break line, and then we'll start the next title and post. So we don't need to print that out this time, just run. This is output.txt. And that's the results in a txt file. So the title, and it doesn't have any content. Then we have the title of the next post, its content in here, the title of the other post, and so on. So that's the complete code for this lecture. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.